Australia is a vast and incredibly diverse continent that amazes with its scale and uniqueness. Within its borders, one can discover the most incredible natural landscapes, so contrasting that it often feels as if you've traveled to different corners of the planet in a short period of time. In some areas, arid, lifeless deserts stretch out, with sands extending for hundreds of kilometers, creating a sense of endless emptiness and silence. In others, lush, vibrant tropical forests flourish, filled with the sounds of birds and the scents of exotic plants, creating an atmosphere of true paradise for nature lovers. And in yet others, imposing snow-capped mountain peaks rise, reaching several thousand meters in height, adding a touch of rugged beauty and majesty to the continent. All of this seems fantastical, like a scene from a science fiction movie, but in reality, it is merely a reflection of Australia's true nature, which will impress any traveler with its diverse and unpredictable environment. Many people perceive Australia solely as the land of adorable kangaroos and the famous Sydney Opera House, a symbol of the country's cultural life. However, this is only a small part of its rich tapestry. Inside this enormous island continent lie vast expanses, filled with mysteries and astonishing facts that often remain beyond the scope of ordinary perception. For example, did you know that there are rivers in Australia that flow in the opposite direction? Yes, this is no joke or mistake. In some cases, the water in these rivers flows against the usual direction. Or consider the renowned Fine Arts Festival that attracts millions of visitors from around the world every year. This incredible event brings together people eager to enjoy the beauty and skill of artists, musicians, dancers, and other creators showcasing their art in all its forms. Such scale demonstrates how strong and vibrant the cultural life in this country truly is. The construction of the famous Sydney Opera House is not just a building. It is a story that lasted 14 years. This project became a real challenge for all involved architectural teams, builders, and engineers. Bringing such an architectural dream to life was a true test, requiring immense effort, patience, and professionalism. Thanks to their work, one of Australia's most recognizable symbols was born, a structure that impresses with its unusual shape and harmoniously fits into the urban landscape. On this exciting journey through Australia, we will venture into the very heart of the country to explore its amazing nature, rich culture, famous landmarks, and, of course, the most extraordinary facts that can change your perception of this unique land. Are you ready? Then let's begin our adventure. Australia is not just a continent. It is a whole universe, separated from the rest of the world by vast oceans, and surrounded by legends passed down from generation to generation. Located in the southern hemisphere, it amazes even seasoned travelers who have seen a lot. When compared to other countries by area, it ranks 6th in the world, trailing only major nations such as Russia, Canada, the USA, China, and Brazil. But knowing the numbers is not enough. It is much more important to understand what they mean in practice. It's easy to get lost here for several days, wandering through endless deserts or dense, shady tropical forests that hide many secrets. Australians, as you may have already heard, speak their own unique slang, which can sometimes confuse even the most experienced English speakers. When meeting locals, one might feel a bit puzzled, as phrases like, "How's it going?" can mean both, "How are you?" and "Hello." And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Cultural features, language, and traditions create a special atmosphere where it's easy to get immersed. Australia is an astonishing continent, as if it has stepped out of the pages of the most captivating zoological book. Here, you are greeted by kangaroos, gracefully hopping through streets and parks like characters brought to life from a cartoon. Some of these animals reach impressive heights, about 2 meters, and look so unusual that it seems as if they were created in a fantasy laboratory. Their movements and behavior reflect a special freedom unique to these lands. Despite their seemingly harmless appearance, these creatures evoke genuine interest and admiration in everyone who encounters them face to face. Next on the list are koalas. These adorable, fluffy bears that spend most of their lives cozily perched on tree branches. Imagine being able to relax as they do, and according to statistics, they sleep up to 20 hours a day, enjoying the carefree and peaceful life. Such a state of calm and serenity seems almost unreachable for humans. Yet these cute beings demonstrate how important it is to value moments of rest and the ability to disconnect from the hustle and bustle. But don't think that koalas are solely harmless and peaceful creatures. Sometimes their behavior can surprise even the most experienced observers, as they are capable of acting quite aggressively, defending their territory, or provoking unwanted situations. Australia is also famous for its venomous inhabitants, which evoke both fear and admiration among tourists and locals alike. Here you have snakes and spiders, among which the most dangerous are cobras. These snakes possess potent venom, and an encounter with them can become a real challenge for curious travelers. Therefore, when venturing into Australian forests or even just taking a walk in nature, it's best to stay away from such dangerous creatures to avoid unpleasant surprises. Another unique representative of the animal world is the platypus, a creature that combines features of several different animals. Its appearance resembles a mix of a duck, a beaver, and a lizard, making it an incredibly amusing and at the same time astonishing creature. Looking at a platypus, it's impossible not to smile. It seems as if it was assembled from various parts that fit together perfectly. And this is just a glimpse of the wealth of wonders that Australia hides. But this country is not only about living creatures and natural marvels. It also has its own unique traditions, holidays, and customs that differ from the cultural standards we are used to. For example, Australians celebrate Christmas differently than most countries around the world. In the middle of winter, December for us, it's summer in Australia, and many people hold festive events right on the beach. Imagine people grilling barbecue and enjoying the sun while, at this time of year, we experience cold rains and frosts. In Australia, however, Christmas festivities take place under bright sunlight, and instead of traditional Christmas trees and snowdrifts, there are palm greenery and warm sea breezes. Their holidays are filled with a special spirit of freedom and ease. Instead of familiar pies and hot mulled wine, you can try fresh seafood and cool beer outdoors. All this creates a unique atmosphere that remains in memory forever. But it's not only traditions that make Australia special. The country has a particular attitude toward humor, which is often turned upside down. Locals easily joke about their accents and peculiarities of the English language, which is perceived as part of their cultural identity. For example, conversations about football often refer to rugby, not what we are used to calling that sport. Such details help to understand how much their mentality and way of life differ from ours. It is this very feature that creates the unique atmosphere where one can easily get lost if unfamiliar with the local rules and nuances. Australia is not only about beaches, surfing, and barbecues. It is a living, vibrant land. In the oceans surrounding the shores of distant and mysterious Australia, there exists an incredible and very dangerous creature, the hammerhead shark. This predatory fish is not only attractive because of its unusual shape resembling a hammer, but also because of its behavior, which closely resembles that of a true hunter ready to attack at any moment. Overall, if you are a wildlife enthusiast and eager to see animals that many dream of, Australia becomes a real paradise for you, but at the same time, a place where danger lurks, much like in hell. Here, every day feels like an intense safari, only instead of the usual zoo exhibits or photographs, you encounter the most unusual and sometimes strangest creatures of the animal world, capable of both astonishing and frightening you to the core. Therefore, if you decide to visit this Australian land, be prepared for your journey to turn into a true adventure, full of unexpected discoveries, extreme situations, and unforgettable impressions. In this place, you are not merely an observer standing on the edge between humanity and wild nature, but an active participant in events where special, entirely different rules apply. Get ready for adrenaline-filled adventures, encounters with a nature that can amaze with its power and unpredictability. Australia is not only the land of kangaroos and koalas, not just a place where you can see cute and seemingly harmless animals, but also a mystery of nature surrounded by countless secrets and astonishing phenomena. Have you ever wondered, can rivers really flow backward in Australia? This question is often asked by those hearing about such a possibility for the first time. Yes, it's not a myth or a fabrication, but a reality that initially seems incredible, even shocking to many. It all comes down to the fact that in the southern hemisphere, where Australia is located, gravity and natural laws sometimes behave a little differently than in northern countries. Water in some rivers can indeed, almost magically, change its flow direction, stumbling upon invisible forces, twisting and swirling in the opposite direction. In practice, such cases are quite rare, but when you stand on a bridge watching the current, hear local stories about mysterious spells, underwater charms, and magic, you can't help but start to believe that anything is possible here in Australia. Australians joke about this, as if hinting that even their rivers are rebels, unwilling to obey the usual rules. And when you look at the flow of water that seemingly should flow strictly in one direction, you suddenly begin to wonder, have I been deceived? Have I been led astray? It's like an old, good fairy tale about a world turned upside down, where everything seems impossible, but is actually real. It's important to remember that such rivers are not only astonishing natural phenomena, but also real monsters with unpredictable behavior. They can suddenly change their strength, power, and direction, creating dangerous situations for those who decide to travel along their banks. Therefore, if you plan a trip or hike along Australian rivers, be extremely cautious, stay alert, and remember that nature in these places can surprise and sometimes even frighten with its unpredictability. Overall, the rivers in Australia flow as they please, and this is one of the reasons why this country continues to remain a mystery for all who seek to explore it. As for the laws regulating life in this country, they deserve special attention. Local regulations often seem like a true comedy of absurdity. If you think that everything is well organized and correct in your own country, take a closer look at Australian regulations. For example, in some states, it is prohibited to hold an alligator in your hands without a special permit, although you can throw a party with friends for it. Australia is a whole theater of absurdity, where each act of the performance presents the audience with new, unexpected surprises and astonishing discoveries. It is a place where the boundaries of logic are often blurred, and laws sometimes seem more like jokes than serious legal acts. Therefore, when planning to visit this unique continent, it's worth remembering. It's better not to argue with its laws, or you might be fined for too loud laughter or an unrestrained joke. In this country, everything seems to be taken seriously, even to the extent of finding someone for humor and good spirits. And all of this often appears to happen in a friendly, joking environment. The more I hear about new, sometimes strange laws, the more I conclude that Australians are people with an excellent sense of humor, who can joke even about serious matters without forgetting what is truly important. In their country, even issuing fines is often accompanied by humorous comments, to avoid offending the person and to keep the atmosphere light. Yet, despite this light irony, the Aboriginal people of Australia are not just indigenous inhabitants. They are a true mystery, wrapped in numerous legends and myths, passed down from generation to generation. Their culture is a living historical source, where every symbol, every ornament, and every tradition holds special significance and deep meaning. Take, for example, their art. It is not limited to simple paintings on canvas or cave drawings. On the contrary, it is an expression of their spiritual connection to the land, their history, and their ancestors. Every line, every color in their works tells complex stories passed down orally, as if they capture the very essence of life, with each generation adding its own stroke to this living mosaic. Their inseparable bond with nature is especially impressive. It seems so vital to them that they live in harmony with the entire surrounding world. For the Aboriginal people, The land is not just a resource source but a sacred space, to be respected and preserved. They know how to survive in the harshest conditions, using knowledge accumulated over tens of thousands of years. Their traditional rituals are not merely cultural ceremonies, but genuine rites that serve as a connection with nature and ancestors. For example, a special songbox is not just a musical instrument, but a means of transmitting knowledge about the land, its inhabitants, and spiritual entities. It sounds fantastic, like something out of a novel or legend, but this is the reality of their lives. Of course, not all Aboriginal people live by traditional laws and customs. Many of them have successfully adapted to the modern world, while maintaining a deep connection to their roots. And as you wander across the Australian landscape, feeling its unique atmosphere, remember, this land is infused with the history and culture of the people who have inhabited it since time immemorial. In every Aboriginal person, you see a bearer of millennia-old wisdom and a rich heritage that has been preserved and passed down from generation to generation. As for the city of Sydney, despite not being the capital of the country, it holds a special place in the hearts of everyone who has visited at least once, due to its significance and memorable appearance. It is a city that immediately catches the eye and leaves a lasting impression. Why is it so memorable? Because it is the main arena of the country's cultural, economic, and tourist life. Imagine arriving in Australia, a land of kangaroos and koalas, and what first comes to mind? Undoubtedly, it is the famous Sydney Opera House. Located on the harbor's edge, its unusual silhouette resembles a giant sail ready to set sail into the unknown. This architectural masterpiece captivates with its elegance, creating the illusion that it is floating above the water, welcoming visitors and residents alike. Surrounding it are modern skyscrapers that seem to sprout like mushrooms after rain. If you suddenly feel like visiting Sydney, be prepared for the fact that the journey here can be quite costly. This city not only attracts tourists with its picturesque views and cultural richness, but also feels like a living history, intertwined with soaring successes and deep falls. Although it is not the country's capital, it undoubtedly leaves unforgettable impressions and evokes strong emotions in every guest. When you are relaxing on a golden beach with a cool cocktail in hand, enjoying the sea breeze and bright sunshine, try to remember, every moment of this place is imbued with a rich history and modern trends. Here, the past and present coexist in harmony, creating a unique atmosphere in which everyone can feel part of something greater. While the vibrant beaches and cultural diversity enchant and attract visitors, let's lift the veil of mystery over one of the city's most recognizable symbols, the Sydney Opera House. This architectural marvel is not just a building, but a true wonder of engineering and artistic vision, becoming a hallmark not only of the city but of the entire world. Building it was no easy task, as the project resembled a complex assembly, similar to putting together IKEA furniture without instructions, confusing and requiring special patience. Construction work began in 1966 and was only completed in 1973, which speaks to the scale and complexity of this project, as if it were part of a prolonged construction, reminiscent of a famous long-term build. The original concept, proposed by Danish architect Jorn Utzon, was seen as a dream that was meant to become reality, but in practice turned into a true architectural puzzle. Questions about how to place the giant shell-like elements, resembling theater components, so they wouldn't collapse under their own weight, and how to connect them with the rest of the building in a way that everything looked harmonious and aesthetically pleasing, posed difficult challenges for engineers and architects. Every detail, every small or large part of this structure, was subjected to careful analysis and refinement, as problems arose literally like mushrooms after rain, requiring continuous solutions. Financial issues also played a role. The budget fluctuated, sometimes increasing, sometimes decreasing, like a meteor falling either into the sky or onto the ground, creating additional difficulties and delays. Despite all these hardships, the Sydney Opera House eventually became one of the city's symbols, and its unusual design still sparks many debates and admiration today. Behind its magnificent exterior lies years of struggle against bureaucratic barriers, architectural challenges, and technical difficulties. Therefore, when admiring its shapes and lines, it's worth remembering this is not just a work of art, but the result of the hard work, ingenuity, and perseverance of an entire generation of architects and engineers. Imagine how the local residents must have felt watching this monster seemingly rising from nothing, slowly but surely emerging from the ground, promising to become not only an architectural icon, but also a place where music will sound, dreams will come true, and new ideas will be born. This atmosphere of lively creativity and inspiration is also embodied by the famous Sydney Music Festival, not just a cultural event, but a true spectacle, transforming the city into a vast stage where every corner breathes art. Founded more than 6 decades ago, in 1961, this festival has become a truly large-scale cultural machine, gathering artists from around the world and uniting them in a single musical space. Behind the bright lights, impressive performances, and spectacular productions lie secrets that are not always easy to uncover. For example, did you know that this festival features not only famous musicians and theatrical troupes, but also street performers? If you're considering attending the festival, be prepared for unexpected surprises and unpredictable twists of events. Because this celebration is not just a place for dancing and singing, life is in full swing here. People discuss important topics, debate, exchange opinions, and sometimes even get into conflicts. The Sydney Festival is not only a vibrant cultural event, but also a true laboratory of ideas and perspectives, where everyone can find something special for themselves. If, of course, they are not afraid to look beyond the surface of the event and understand its deeper essence. Let's try to understand why millions of people around the world dream of living in the distant, mysterious, and simultaneously alluring Australia. The first thing that catches the eye when mentioning this country is its climate. It's enough to step outside to feel how the scorching sun caresses your skin, and the sea breeze fills you with freshness and lightness. Unlike the gray, overcast, and rainy days typical of most European countries, here, genuine warmth and sunshine reign. But climate is only one side of the coin. More important is the unique lifestyle, imbued with calmness and the ability to appreciate every moment. Australians generally do not rush. They understand how important it is to enjoy the present without chasing after time. In their cities and towns, there is a sense of tranquility and measured pace, unlike the megacities where people are constantly in a hurry, as if an urgent matter or a race for success is hanging over their shoulders. There is a certain beauty in this, an ability to relax and feel harmony with the surrounding nature. As for nature, it is truly staggering in scale and diversity. Beaches look like they are straight out of travel magazines. Soft, white sand and crystal clear waters that beckon to swim. The wild nature here is not just words, but a reality that amazes the imagination. In Australia, you can encounter unique animals that are not found in any other country. Kangaroos, koalas, emus, and many others. The dream of seeing a kangaroo or koala is for many not just a fantasy, but a quite achievable goal, as these animals are everywhere, parks, reserves, and sometimes even on the outskirts of cities. However, it is important to remember that life in Australia is not only about beautiful landscapes and friendly people. This continent is famous for its high cost of living. Housing prices in major cities like Sydney and Melbourne can surprise even the most seasoned travelers. They often exceed all expectations. Many people dream of a comfortable and peaceful life, but the reality is often different. To make ends meet, it is often necessary to work multiple jobs, which significantly complicates the possibility of proper rest and free time. Cultural differences also deserve special attention. Australia is a true melting pot, where various cultures and nationalities intertwine. This multicultural character makes the country even more attractive, as it offers an opportunity to learn about the traditions and customs of peoples from around the world. But, like in any other country, there are nuances, prejudices, stereotypes, and hostility that can become unexpected obstacles on the way to a new life. Despite all these challenges, the dream of moving to Australia continues to attract millions. This is a place where you can change your environment, discover new opportunities, and perhaps find your true identity. Australia is a land of contrasts, where wild, untouched natural corners coexist with modern metropolises featuring skyscrapers and technological innovations. Here, you can see majestic mountains, endless beaches with soft white sands, and unique landscapes that take your breath away. Every part of this country is filled with something amazing and extraordinary, inspiring awe and a desire to explore more deeply. But it's important to remember that behind the vibrant images and beautiful stories, there are also challenges. The cost of